Hey friends, so today we're going to be talking a little bit about AI and some of the dangers of AI, and also this story where the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, is investigating ChatGPT creator OpenAI over consumer harm through its data collection and publication of false information. And so what these AIs do is they not only take data from you, so when you're interacting with ChatGPT, all that information is then being sent back to OpenAI for them to use as they see fit. So information you may share, and also information that it's able to scrape or basically scan every web page on the internet to gather information. And what the concern here is, and what this civil action is about, is the fact that there is harmful false information being reported by ChatGPT. And because that it scans all of the internet and that it uses the data that is also given to it. So this can make it very difficult to discern what information is true, what information is false. It can also make it difficult for it to find out true information about you. So if someone's asking questions about you, it may gather information of other people with your name or a similar name, and then it may report out false information on you or others you may know. And so this is a big problem with AI, but worry not. They have a solution for you. One solution is the global digital ID, which the CEO of WorldCoin says is going to exist and end online anonymity whether you like it or not. And so they say that anyone using the internet will eventually have to use a world ID. And of course, the problems in this story is also from AI itself, because AI can't discern what is what, who posts what, and they want to have a full understanding in order to develop, quote, more accurate AI. So they want everyone to have a digital ID in order to help their product become better. And so this is going to be one of the big talking points. We've seen how, digital ID, online ID, internet ID, whatever you want to call it, we've seen how they've used children and protecting children as one of the ways they've attempted to push through an internet ID. So there's a lot of interested in this identification of users to help both increase the accuracy of AI, because once they can determine who is saying what and where, that's a bit of an idealistic look for them, that they hope to be able to discern information that is true from false, and they're going to have a lot of difficulty doing that without some kind of identification to prove people are who they say they are. Then you also have the problem with AI bots that are going to be posting countless internet trash. So the internet's going to get further polluted with all these AI bots. The AI bots are going to be acting as if they're human, and that's going to cause all kinds of issues on different platforms. So of course they're going to use that as a way to push in the digital ID or world ID, whatever you want to call it. And the artificial intelligence developers and investors, they want to be able to determine who is saying what and where in their ideal world. And if they're able to attach some kind of identification to things or to accounts, they're going to be able to better discern what is said by who and where. And that's just another way to increase the accuracy for AI. And it's all coming down to what's good for AI development. And that is the world we are entering. And the thing about it with AI is the AI is biased, and it's always going to be biased as long as people have a belief system, a political belief system, a moral belief system. They are going to infuse their own morals. The investors and the developers are going to infuse their own political and moral, and they're going to add that into the AI. And that's just a natural thing that's going to come with the development of AI. And we've already seen how it's shown bias in the recent past. So we know that it already has bias. We know that it can't be fully trusted to the point where the FTC is investigating on how OpenAI and ChatGPT is collecting data and publicizing false information. Now, in their ideal world, you'll have a digital ID. They'll be able to find out who is saying what and where. They'll be able to determine what data points are related to other people, and that will allow them to further increase the accuracy of AI. At least that's the sales pitch, but really, is it worth it, the cost to the freedom? Then we also have Google executive has warned that AI researchers are creating God. This is a bit of an older story, but I thought it was fitting because when you really look at the big picture with AI development, that all of this is becoming more invasive for us individually. The internet of old is gone as far into the future as this AI is developed. And the further into the future, it's just going to get worse and worse because of AI, and it's going to create all kinds of internet trash that's going to pollute the internet. So you're going to have to weed through. You're not going to know who you're talking to. As my previous video talked about the hypothetical scenario of heaven banning, where you are talking and chatting with people on a given platform, and you don't know which ones are human. You don't know which ones are AI, but you're helping feed information to the AI ones. And your whole life online could be false in that you may have a ton of AI friends that are really working for corporate interests and not really your friend. You're going to have so much of this kind of internet trash, all these AI generated pages that are optimized to come to the top. And search engines have gotten horrible because some of the big search engines like Google, DuckDuckGo, whatever, Bing, all of that stuff has gotten so much worse at finding the information you're looking for. And I'm sure you've noticed this yourself over the last decade or so, that search engines have gotten less reliable. And with the integration of AI, I think they're going to get even less reliable. And that's another reason they really would love to have this World ID. Because if they have the World ID, they can try and get rid of some of the AI created trash on the internet, which is all it is. It's internet pollution it creates. And we are going to see more of a reliance on these chatbots and AI in other ways to help discern what is what. So this is the future we're entering, and the CEO of WorldCoin has stated that it's going to be there, and something like Open World ID will exist, meaning you will have to verify you are human on the internet. And this is whether you like it or not. Everyone likes to hear that, as it says here. And it's really all about empowering these venture capitalists, these tech firms and monopolies, these people who call their companies open that don't even have open source involved, except for the fact that they take advantage of open source when it suits them. And then after that, they then change suit and make it closed. So you don't have the transparency that's there with open source. But there are projects out there that are attempting to be an alternative to things like ChatGPT, where you actually have transparency. And until something has transparency, you should not trust it at all. You really can't trust this kind of thing because we already know that bias is being integrated already, and bias is always going to be integrated. As long as humans are in control of the creation of AI, they're going to insert their own inherent biases. Same with the investors. They have their goals. The owners of the corporations, they have their goals, and bias is going to be involved in that. And it's inevitable. If something isn't open source, consider it biased, because it most undoubtedly is. At least with open source, you can check for that bias. With things that are closed source like OpenAI's ChatGPT, you have no transparency. You're just allowing it to create God. And that is how people are treating it. They are already treating this AI as God, as if it is all-knowing, and it's already producing the false information that's causing the FTC to do an investigation into ChatGPT. Personally, I think They need to make it open source, and if they're not willing to make it open source, well, I don't think anyone should use it. Honestly, people should reject things that are against transparency. And of course, they're trying to protect their profit interests. We've seen how it's already turned Twitter into a walled garden, how it's already turned other platforms into walled gardens where now, you can't even search with privacy with a front end, and this whole thing's just going to get so much worse. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's what I have to do, because if I'm not talking about it and no one else is talking about it, well, I'm sure there's other people talking about it, but someone has to speak on this kind of thing, because it is a huge danger to your human autonomy. And that's the real thing in the future. It's not just going to scan everything you've ever posted on the internet. It's going to try to identify you with things like your grammar, things that are unique to your typing, things that are unique to you online, and it's going to be able to collate all that information together in order to de-anonymize users in that fashion. But they also want to bring in this digital world ID, and so that's a huge danger. CAPTCHAs, they say, we're bad for your privacy, but they're so much better than having a world digital ID online where you have no anonymity, where anonymity is under threat. And that's another reason I'm a huge supporter of things like I2P, Tor Network, LokiNet. All these networks, we have a real chance to create something new where you can actually implement new types of practices that can help prove who you are using cryptography. And so I think that's the real direction we should go in introducing new standards that help cryptographically prove that you are who you are, not using things like your biometrics, not using things like a world digital ID. To me, the real solution is not enriching these AI companies, but instead creating more open source freedom cryptography where people can actually prove who they are, in a similar fashion to PGP. So that's what I have today, guys. I hope you found this useful. Make sure to share this video with everyone. Help spread the word on the dangers of AI. So make sure to follow at bmc.link/politictech. And I'll be back later with more on how to protect your security and privacy.